Welcome to Season 2 with the Market Mystics, where we discuss and redefine markets, wealth, and trading on Earth as it is in heaven. Join us on the journey while we consider new possibilities with special guests who might just challenge a few perspectives. Get ready to dive in deep with your hosts, Joshua and Kim.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
Welcome. I think today has potential to be fun because Kim and I we've had a long conversation just catching up on life and different content that we'd watched, and just a lot of questions about life and where things are and the direction we're going and how to really create systemic change and what that looks like. And so we were talking about the importance of asking questions and the importance of asking really good questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about being skeptical and questioning everything, but having the right question can be just as important as having the right answer sometimes.
That's a good way to say it. If we back up just a little bit. So our podcast is called Market Mystics, and I will be very honest in saying that we've had some pushback on calling ourselves mystics and some well-intended warnings that we may not know what that means. So today I think maybe we might put a little bit of a definition on it.
Yeah. We have given some people answers before, like a mystic is someone who believes that they can communicate with God and that he will share personal things with them and he'll share mysteries with them. That's, if you Google it, that's one of the definitions you'll find for what is a mystic or what is mysticism. But yeah, we wanted to expand that a little bit from just where we are at the moment with in being a mystic or whatever.
I know it's funny because I think there were a good amount of years that I really resisted that term or that label, but it's just gotten to the point where there is a Christian mystic movement and it just is happening. And there's really no better word to describe it at this point, except that people have really shifted from seeking the tradition and religion of faith to seeking relationship and revelation in their faith. And I think that might be a little oversimplified, but that's kind of what it is, at least in my life. It's been a shift from religion to relationship and seeking the mysteries of God with him, as opposed to simply relying on what everyone else has experienced. That kind of, it's a little bit of a definition in my life. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think there definitely has been a movement in that area. And I think what I'm looking for to happen in the upcoming years is maybe a little bit of balance, because we've had, years, hundreds or thousands of years of people who follow tradition and have a lot of knowledge about this is what this book says, this is what it means. And now you have a generation of people who are saying something doesn't quite add up to where I'm at in life. It's not making sense for me. And so they've asked questions and have gone a different route where it's been about relationship and revelation. And I really think kind of the ultimate goal will be a settling of that pendulum swing into a place where revelation is paired with with knowledge, is paired with understanding, where you pair revelation with wisdom. Like, I really think that that's, in my heart, that's where I want to settle with it. And I think it would be really beneficial if other people got to that point, because I think it's great. I think revelation's amazing, but ultimately, like, I heard someone describe it this way once, that they got revelation on something they wanted to do. Or, yeah, I'm trying to find a good way to phrase it without like really giving away their story. But they got revelation on something that they wanted. And then they were like, okay, well, practically for that to happen, there's a few things that need to happen first, that need to line up. And they made the comment like, you're trusting a being that is outside of time to give you revelation that you are going to use within the bounds of time. And so it's not that the revelation is wrong or right, but that if you don't pair it with wisdom and understanding about how those things function, then you could be holding on to a promise or a word or a revelation that was meant for 10 years from now. And is it wrong to just jump into it and hold it for that long? No, it's not wrong. But what this person was proposing was asking the being to get more clarification on timing, because the numbers don't mean anything to an angel, because an angel lives outside of time. And I just thought it was like a fascinating concept of like, even questioning, even asking for more details in revelation, like it's not a bad thing. And it doesn't mean you don't trust your relationship with God to question what you hear in the spirit.
I think that's so very valid. And I think it's so integral in this time that we're in. Maybe just because I'm in it, it feels like an era. It feels like the beginning of an era. I know there have been mystics throughout the years, like centuries, that have been recorded. However, just in the last decade or less, there has been, I don't know, an increasingly big amount of people who are kind of going that direction. And it feels like a shift. But being in that, I think just what you're saying, some of the most integral things in it have been simply asking the questions and being open to hearing the answers. So I don't know. I will say there have been times in my prayer life years ago where I would ask a question, but I don't want to hear the answer. Like, why?
Or ask God? A question already knowing the answer.
Yes, same. And now I've really come into this place of like, I really want to know, and I will ask the questions. And to be quite honest, early on in what I would call my mystical walk, I would ask all kinds of questions, like good questions, bad questions, big questions, little questions. I once asked, just because people around me were talking about it, okay, God, is it round earth or is it flat earth? And he told me it's not for me to know. And that was the answer that I got. But I asked the question. So instead of like sitting and merely processing within myself, what could this be? I took it back to who I believe is the creator. And I said, okay, so I'll ask you. And just like in any relationship, there are things that you don't need to know. And the answer could be, sorry, this isn't for you. And that's okay. And guess what? I didn't lose my faith over it, because I was actually asking because I wanted to hear the response.
Well, and I think also the other thing you can do is then go back and say, okay, that wasn't the question. What is the question? Like, it can make you then go deeper into a thing, because now you're thinking of a better question or a different question, to where you're still getting revelation in that arena of the topic, but maybe not that, maybe that exact thing wasn't the right question.
That's exactly what it was. Because years later, I was with him again and he showed me something. And I was like, I thought this wasn't for me to know. Like, he showed me the answer kind of to that question. And he said, you were asking the wrong question.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
So in our comment at the beginning of like wanting to redefine what a mystic was, it really comes down to, we believe that it's the ability to ask good questions. And I don't even know that that's new, because you get like, the story of the wise man on top of the mountain, and people journey to go up to him to ask what the meaning of the world is. And he responds, well, what does it mean to you? Like, he he asks them a question. And I think that's just throughout history, even philosophers, all these like people who are widely respected and really knowledgeable, it started by asking really good questions. And your husband, Jason, shared something on Facebook the other day that I remembered while we were talking about this. And it says, in the gospel, Jesus is asked 187 questions. He answers maybe 8 of them. He himself asks people 307 questions. And I just think it's fascinating, like the importance of not, like, especially in religion and life, not forcing an answer, but can you sit in a position of asking questions? And I think if you sit in a position of asking questions, some answers will come. You'll get answers, but the answers you get will probably leave you with more questions, because there are so many layers to this incredible life and creation that we have. There's so many layers to everything. Every book you read, every sermon you listen to, every conversation you have with a neighbor, every plant that you see, there's so many layers to it, that just asking a question and getting an answer is not the fullness. Keep asking questions.
I think that goes right back to the root of this word. Like, it is kind of seeking the mysteries, right? How do you seek a mystery except to ask about it? Ask about something that you don't know, and have the humility to be able to receive an answer. I think there are all of these buzzwords around, like a big one on social media is the deconstruction of faith, that can really get under people's skin. But I find it encouraging. So people who are just willing to ask the questions, and muddle through it. I don't think it's a clean or easy journey to go on. And there might be hurt that comes up, and there might be past trauma, and there might be huge revelation, and there might be forging of new relationships and breaking off of old relationships, and many, many things in between. But when it comes to you and what you believe, do you believe it's important enough to have a solid foundation to seek?
Right.
And I think that's really, this is what it boils down to, is this posture of seeking and being willing to find.
Seek and ye shall find, knock and the door will be open. Like, I mean, the whole scripture is just an invitation to explore.
Mm.
I don't think that it's a platform from which we know and control things, but it's a platform from which it's an invitation to explore. It's an invitation to seek.
Absolutely. Good.
Yeah, I would love to hear some listeners in the comments. Like, leave us questions you're wrestling with. I'm not saying because we know the answers, but like, I want to know some really good questions that people are wrestling with. Like, yeah.
Same. I think it's one of the beauties of community is we can ask collectively and ponder collectively and seek collectively.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Cool. Thanks for joining today, guys. We'll see you again next time.
See ya.
Thank you for sticking around. Listen for new episodes every Monday and Thursday. Find us on all social media platforms by searching for Market Mystics. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. Visit upperroomcd.com where you can find more information about the hosts, projects, and guests. Go deeper by booking a coaching appointment focused on redefining identity and wealth in your life. See you next time.